Welcome to another Unreal Foos tutorial. Today I'm going to show you a backpin series. So the first thing we do, just like for a rollover, we first need to learn how to front pin the ball. For the backpin, you need to learn how to backpin the ball, which is the reverse. So now it's as opposed to front pinning, you're back pinning. So that's why it's called a backpin series, because you're using your guy and you're pinning the ball essentially on like towards the back here. So how do we backpin? Again, there's lots and lots of different ways. Some of the ways that I use is I just kind of tic-tac the ball, and when the ball is hitting one of my outside guys, I do a little flick towards the outside, which causes the ball to then move at an angle towards the outside, and then I can go and backpin with the middle guy. So if I'm doing this, or I can push the ball towards the middle, have the guy be at an angle so that the ball hits the back part of the guy and moves towards the outside, and then I can go and backpin the ball. So I would say practice doing it from either either one of the guys on the outside, and get comfortable with pinning the ball. You can also do it like, if you go and you're essentially doing sort of like a pull setup, just have that same middle guy hit at an angle so that the ball moves back at an angle, and then you can go back pin it. Or if you're sort of in this push setup, which I usually don't do, but it'll accomplish the same thing. Ultimately, you just want to be able to back pin the ball. So now that you're able to get this back pin position, to me, the hardest thing about a back pin is just maintaining a good back pin position. Sometimes, if you rock a little too much, you'll end up losing control of it. But that's just a matter of practicing. And I practice the back pin enough, but not enough to really have great control of it. So I do have pretty good control of it, but I typically use back pins as just maybe quick options where if I pick up the ball on the 3 here in singles, then I can, if I make a quick grab here and I see that somebody's not on the long, as soon as I backpin it, then I can go and shoot a quick shot. So I don't necessarily do a backpin series, but it's a very entertaining series, and it does have a lot of advantages. So if you do want to use this as your main series, it can be a pretty good series to do. So again, once you get into this back pin, the next thing is you really have to practice pinning the ball. And again, it's practice moving the ball around, doing this rock, and you really gotta practice the rock, because this is essential to be able to do a good back pinning series. Because most of the time you really want to just rock so that you can get a good look at the defense, and then you can pick whichever hole you think is going to be open. So what I would say is start out by practicing rocking the ball like this, and then moving the ball a little bit like that. And again, you have to really readjust your pin if you feel that the ball, most of the time you'll feel the ball go towards the front. So you just got to work on making sure that you don't lose the pin. So, and the grip, again, for me, I use my grip like I do my normal close-handed grip. So if I'm here, I have the option of shooting anything really. I mean, pulls, shooting pull, push kicks, and then just going right into that back pin. So again, let's practice rocking the ball. So now once you have this rock and you're able to have a little bit of control here, now we can start exploring different options. Let's start by shooting the push side. So again, what you want to do is you want to have a good pin, and when you want to shoot the push side, is you're basically moving the ball. And what you want to do is as you're pushing, there's a very slight movement where you're pushing the ball and essentially moving a little bit down so that the ball doesn't go straight, it doesn't go parallel, but actually moves a little bit forward. And what that will do is that will allow you to actually have the ball move a little bit in front so that you don't end up pinning the ball. Because if I just move the ball parallel to the rod, you're just gonna backpin the ball again, right? So when you're gonna actually shoot the ball, you're really moving I'm gonna do an exaggerated example here, but it's like if I was going to if I was gonna set up my pull, I would just put the pressure here along the ball and then move down so that the ball follows my guy. So like this, right? And so then you can see that the ball moves at an angle towards the front, but this will allow me to this will allow the ball to basically move forward a little bit, and rather than pinning the ball, it's going to be in front so that I can hit the ball. Like that. And so there's a couple of options here. I for some reason I've always gotten used to when I go hit, I usually come down with the ball and try to square the shots a little bit. So you'll see that some of my shots will cut back a little bit, but when you're going for the push shot, that's not necessary. You can kind of go like that and still hit. You can hit the straight shot like that. So you don't necessarily have to cut back. You just have to be able to get there and hit it straight. And then again, then the other option is on the pull side. Just going. You basically want to be able to go, essentially straight here. It's the same thing. It's when you're going to do that, you're going to bring the ball, but you're going to want to pull the ball a little bit forward so that the ball moves in front, and you don't end up backpinning. As opposed to doing this, you really want to be able to move the ball a little bit forward so you can hit it. So that'll give you some of the outside shots. And you can do the same technique if you wanted to shoot sort of an inside hole and go straight, not like that. But again, it's if you're pinning here and you're moving and you say I wanted to go inside here, you'd want to move the ball a little bit and then hit the ball right there. So that's one technique, is hitting straight shots on the outside. Maybe the one for the middle is what I typically do for the middle. It's almost like I'm doing it almost feels like I'm doing a pull, but what I'm doing here is as I'm rocking, I'll go to the push side and again bring the guy down so that the ball moves forward like that, and then I'll come down and essentially hit the ball, and it almost looks like I'm doing a square pull shot. So it looks more like that. So that's sort of a variation of doing a straight like that. Now the other, one of the advantages that I talked about earlier about a backpin is that if somebody's giving you a standard defense like this, it's typically fairly easy to essentially cut back these shots by doing, basically when you move the ball here and you bring the ball for a shot, since you're bringing the ball this way, it's usually easy to go right in between and essentially cut back the shot like that. So you can do it slower. Sometimes you don't necessarily have to hit the ball very hard. It's actually a nicer shot when it's more of a finesse shot, because it's doing things like that where it's going to go through it either way, or you can hit the ball a little bit harder if you feel like that. So again, if I go set up for my backpin, and I can with this defense, if somebody's just doing a lot of this type of movement, I can either try to time and go to the push side, or sometimes it's just it's just easier just to go and split those guys. And the same, you know, whether they're doing a reverse defense like this or they do a post defense this way, and you know, as soon as you can time it, you can come back and cut back the shots. But like I said, with the backpin, it's relatively easy to do a cutback shot, because as soon as you move the ball, you know, as soon as you're moving the ball this way so that it goes a little bit forward, since your guy's already essentially in front of the ball, you can just come back and essentially brush the ball like that and cut back the shot. So you can do stuff like that, or you know, again, so it's a matter of really, but everything is predicated of having a very good control of the backpin, because then you can sit there and figure out what the defense is doing, and then you'll be able to shoot whatever option you have, and so then if you practice, you know, hitting longs or shorts, whether it's a straight or a cutback shot, it definitely makes this shot a lot easier to shoot, and it'll definitely give the defense a lot of fits. You know, just try it out, and again, it's a real nice series. It also helps out with the 2-bar as well. You know, you can have a lot of backpin options and shoot out of the bag with the backpin. So give it a try. Let me know how it works, and send me any other questions or comments.